anime moments where the villains got what they deserved. There are a lot of horrifying and messed up villains in the world of anime. These guys and gals have varying intentions, which range from absolute boredom to over-the-edge god complexes. However, they're all linked by one simple fact: they are just the worst. But that doesn't mean these villains have always succeeded in their matters. Yes, many villains in anime history have received what they deserve, either through a bullet or as a kick in the crotch. So today, I'll be counting down my picks for the top 10 anime moments where the villains receive punishments that were way worse than their crimes. Oh, and warning, there will be spoilers. Before we get to this video, make sure to like and subscribe and smash that bell icon to be notified of all the fantastic content I publish. Now, coming up on number 10, we have
個性消してやるって人間がさ、個性に頼ってちゃいけねえやな。
Overhaul getting his arms chopped off. Out of all the villains we got to see in My Hero Academia, Overhaul was pretty much the worst of the worst. Of course, villains are born to do terrible things. Still, only a few can compare to a psychopath that mentally tortured a kid and made her continuous experience a state similar to death. And yes, Deku did punish Overhaul by destroying his face, but that wasn't punishment enough. The real ass kicking came from the League of Villains. They ambushed the truck transporting Overhaul to Tartarus and captured him. Later on, they tied him up and had Shigaraki take out both his arms, supposedly causing him to lose his quirk. Watching him scream at the top of his lungs due to helplessness was somewhat satisfying because he deserved all of it.
次は俺たちだ。
相手我が子他方丸とこの地を守る鬼神となろう。
Daigo passing away as an act of his own conscience.
なぜだ。
Next up, we have Razorros, Daigo, and his terrible fate. Compared to Overhaul and the rest of the villains coming up on this list, Daigo is a bit morally gray. Despite being a leader, he was a horrible man. He basically sacrificed his son to the demons, claiming that he did it for his people, which is kind of justifiable but also a terrible thing to do. However, his punishment was definitely worth the watch. Hayakimaru attempted to defeat him but didn't really murder him, but instead took back what was his. And I'm kind of glad that he didn't even kill him, even when given the chance, but that doesn't mean Daigo never received his punishment. After the 12th demon's defeat, he died as a side effect of his pact with the demon. Not only was this ending a subversion of everyone's expectations, but it also seemed like more of a deserving end for a villain like Daigo. The Major getting beaten to death. On number 8, we have a terrifying villain, the Major, receiving his end of the bargain. There are countless reasons to hate the Major. Number 1, he's a Nazi. Number 2, he was such a faithful Nazi that Hitler himself asked the scientists to study vampirism as a form of physical well-being during World War II. And above all, the Major survived the war, deciding to wreak havoc on England for about 50 years and killed 3 million citizens during a bloody invasion. Seriously, he was a horrible villain, but thankfully there came a time in the anime when he finally received his punishment. In the 10th episode, the Major was amongst a group of soldiers who the Soviets attacked after contributing to the fruitless defense of Berlin. The Major was the only survivor of the group. However, by the time the Soviets left, he had been beaten, wounded, and left to die among the corpses of his companions. He didn't die though, because he was retrieved by the doctor who saved his life and turned him into a cyborg. But the way he was beaten and shot millions of times, it was all very satisfying to watch.
なりますよ。
Frieza dying at the hands of Gohan. Next, let's talk about Frieza. Sure, there are many villains in the Dragon Ball universe, but none is as inherently high-handed as Frieza. Their Imperial monster can only give the medal for the most unprovoked and ruthless baddie in the franchise. The dude doesn't even give a flying F about annihilating planets. He takes pride in teasing his victims with merciless whippings before ultimately killing them. In fact, it was Frieza who was the one who pushed Goku into the Super Saiyan. In the 200th episode of Dragon Ball Z series, Goku, with a few slaps and punches, leaves Frieza to die as of King Kai's demand. However, in the Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn, he returns to Earth only to get murdered by Gohan, and for real this time. Gohan punches him in the stomach, which causes Frieza to explode. So yeah, getting punched in the stomach and exploding like a bomb was a well-deserved death. Sirio's ultimate fate. Next up, we have Sirio's moment. Sirio is one of those villains that could literally kill you just by looking at you. But when she's calm, she's anything but frightening. Just a sweet girl walking around with her puppy. However, if she gets all flustered, anyone in front of her might pee their pants. Whether it's because she will start tearing her limbs off just to flaunt her deterrent, or the fact that her adorable little pup might turn into an enormous blood-sucking monster, either way, she was a terrifying villain. But in episode 19, all of her deadly wraths turn into dust. Her final act was to detonate the bomb inside of her body to kill Mine. Her plan failed as Tatsumi manages to save Mine out of the explosion radius, leaving Sirio to be incinerated and engulfed by the blast. I know she deserved to die more painfully, but this was satisfying enough because her death resulted from her own plan.
こんなところで嫌だ。
Saitama beating Boros to death. On number 6, we have Boros and his punishment. As the Dark Matter Thieves leader, Boros reflects a level of power that is yet to be surpassed by any one supervillain in One Punch Man. Thankfully, Saitama takes him down. He faces no barriers when battling Boros, though, and didn't even have to use his full strength to eliminate him. Their battle continuously throughout episode 11 and 12. Finally defeated and incapable of regenerating from the heavy damage, Boros, in the end, compliments Saitama for the incredible battle. His villainy comes to an end as he dies. I have to say, this moment was not the only epic in terms of battle, but also well-deserving, considering Boros was a ruthless villain.
Maji Naguri.
Sosuke Aizen facing defeat. Next up, we have Sosuke Aizen and his well-deserved defeat. Truth be told, Sosuke Aizen is one of the dreaded villains in the anime world, and part of that is because of his evil, dark heart. When he first appears, he comes off as a loyal member of the Soul Society. Still, he soon discloses that he has been scheming to overthrow it for a very long time. He uses a combination of manipulation and murder to further his evil plans. He ultimately has no allegiance to anything or anyone but his own self. Thankfully, Ichigo made sure that Sosuke never sets foot in Soul Society ever again. He beats Sosuke up real good and then imprisons him for life. Once again, a well-deserved ending of this ruthless character.
素晴らしいわ。それでこそ私が育てた子供たちね。あなたたち全員。
Peter Ratri receiving a blow to his head. Next, we have Peter Ratri and his satisfying moment of defeat. Let me just get one thing straight. This guy sacrificed the lives of countless children for the sake of his own satisfaction. So yeah, don't be deceived by how he comes off in the beginning because he is straight up cruel. Peter pulled many strings and was hugely responsible for the farms that grew the kids within the demon world. But he deserved his punishment. He was shot in episode 11 of season 2, collapsing on the floor and leaving a pool of his blood behind with Emma and other kids surrounding him. Yes, it was a sad moment for Emma because all she wanted was peace, but she ended up watching Peter die. However, in terms of Peter and his cruel actions, it was all very satisfying.
地獄の果てから楽しませてもらうよ。
君のような勘のいいガキは嫌いだよ。
兄さん。
ああ、そういうことだ。やりやがったな。
Show Tucker finally dying.
楽だろうさ。人間使えばな。
On number 2, we have the horrible Show Tucker. Show Tucker looks like a nice guy, doesn't he? His shabby facial hair and finely rimmed glasses makes the man look all kinds of pleasant and friendly. Show even has a cute little daughter and a puppy to keep the heroes company. So with all that, what could go wrong? Well, everything. Show might not have killed millions of characters, but he definitely traumatized every single viewer when he butchered his own daughter and the puppy by turning them into a bastardized chimera. He did so because he needed money and he felt no remorse about it. Pure villain. Thankfully, Scar seizes Tucker's face and murders him with a surge of alchemical energy, which blasted his organs on the inside. For a guy who butchered his own daughter, his ending was well deserved.
神の道に背きし錬金術師滅ぶべし。
Coming up on number 1, we have Johann Leobert getting shot in the head. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with the anime, you might feel lost, but stick with me. Out of the hundreds of anime villains out there, nobody is as downright deadly or cruel as Johann. He is the cold-blooded villain in the anime monster. Many viewers have failed to complete the series simply because they couldn't bear to stomach Johann's psychotic actions. His finale was planned so that he would be murdered by Tenma, who was a doctor. He wanted Tenma to finally give up on his ideals and join him in his criminal journey. But then, he gets shot in the head by a random drunk guy. But that wasn't the end for Johann because Tenma saves his life again. And yes, that sounds like a cop-out, but it was truly the worst punishment Johann could have ever received. He couldn't destroy Tenma's ideals. Instead, his very own reign of terror was put to an end. So, do you guys agree with these picks or do you think the villains deserved more? Whether it is, let me know in the comments section below. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment saying I subscribed and I will personally pay my regards. While you're there, please give this video a thumbs up and smash that bell icon always to be the first to view my videos. I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, stay safe. I'm out.